Will you ask him what kind of camp this is? Why are they here?
Was ist das hier?
Das hier, das ist ein Arbeitslager für Unerwünschte, wirklich.
He says it's a work camp for unerwünschte. I'm not sure what the word means, sir. Unwanted, disliked, maybe.
Criminals?
I don't think criminals, sir. Verbrecher.
Verbrecher? Nein.
No.
Ärzte, Musiker, Beamte, Bauern,
Doctors, musicians,
Schreiber, Schneider,
tailors,
Intellektuelle.
clerks, farmers, intellectuals, I mean normal people.
Juden.
Jews.
It was only a miniseries, but one based on the real-life exploits of the Band of Brothers, Easy Company, and their march across Europe in World War II. I use that clip because it brings the message home much more dramatically than any old newsreel could. Today, January 27th, is the 70th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz, one of the more feared concentration camps in the annals of World War II. There are so few survivors remaining from that time, and soon there will be no more to tell the story from a personal perspective. Forcing people to never forget will fall to a new generation, the one being led by people like Brooklyn City Councilman David Greenfield. A few days ago, the City Council was in the midst of discussing a resolution to mark this day. The meeting was interrupted by a group of pro-Palestinian protesters who screamed, among other things, "Say no to genocide," slamming the City Council for the resolution and the Council's scheduled trip to Israel later on this year. The protesters were tossed out, and Councilman Greenfield asked for a few moments to speak.
I have to tell you, I'm still shaken to my core. I'm upset, I'm angry, but I'll tell you honestly, I'm actually somewhat pleased at what we saw here today. If you're wondering why I'm saying that, is because for the last few weeks, we've heard from people who said, oh, we don't dislike Jews, we only dislike the state of Israel. We have no problem with you, we simply don't want you to go to Israel. But we know that's not really at the core of what they were saying, and today they proved it. While we were discussing a resolution regarding the murder of 1.1 million human beings, I will point out that 90% of whom were Jewish, but the other 10% were political dissidents, they were Jehovah's Witnesses, they were gays. Those were the people who were being killed together in Auschwitz-Birkenau. While we were discussing that, they had the nerve, the chutzpah, the temerity to unfurl a Palestinian flag and to yell at us while we were discussing that. And so the reason I'm pleased is because we can stop pretending that this is about Israel when the reality is that every Middle Eastern country that is in existence today is not democratic and persecutes people of other faiths and persecutes gays and persecutes people who disagree with them and persecutes people on Twitter and persecutes women who drive, except for one country, which is the state of Israel. And so what you saw here today was naked, blind, anti-Semitism. That's what you saw, and that's what you watched, and that's what you witnessed. People who are upset for one reason. Do you want to know why they're angry? Do you want to know why they're unfurling that flag today? Because Hitler did not finish the job. He only wiped out half of my family. And only by the grace of God is the other half, me, the grandchild, still alive today. That's why those people are upset. Shame on them. Shame on them for hating Jews. Shame on them for hating people. Shame on them for disrespecting the most diverse, democratically elected body in the United States of America. And that's why we go to Israel. We go to Israel to make a message that is clear, that we will not be cowed by this fear and by this hatred that we have, where these are people who would celebrate the death of Jews rather than mourn the death of innocence. I am embarrassed at what happened here today, but I am pleased that we finally see what this is all about. Good old-fashioned anti-Semitism.
Well played, Councilman Greenfield. Bravo. Never forget. Never again. And that is telling it like it is. Rock on, true believers. Thank you so much for joining us. We're back on Friday in a few days, but we got Wednesday coming on MidPoint.